guys, what's up? It's currently 6:56 p.m. I'm starting my next vlog. I didn't get any footage today, but I was also at my niece's birthday, so I wanted to enjoy that, and yeah.
Fantastic wrestling story told there, and the Steiners versus the Miracle Violence connection was very physical and very intense. And I thought is overall those four tenets, those four pillars of the show really put it over the edge for me. And the rest of the wrestling wasn't bad at all. You know, like I said, 1992, this whole period was probably one of the best eras for WCW in terms of in-ring work. The new rules, the top rope stuff was a little silly, but most of the folks involved made it work. I really enjoyed this show. Well, that's my review of Beach Blast 92. Thank you for watching, and thanks again to Ricky and Jordan on Patreon for nominating this show for me to review. If you want to play a role in determining which classic shows I look at in the future, be they good, bad, or somewhere in between, go to patreon.com/wrestlingwithregret, become a $10 backer or above, and you'll have the chance to nominate shows for me to review right here in the future. Next time on the classic review, we're going back to the WWF, we're going back to SummerSlam, and you know what? The last two reviews have had some heavy involvement from Jesse the Body Ventura, so it was the 90s. WWE 2K19 still won't have a GM mode, but you can be the GM of your very own wrestling promotion right here, with hundreds of different cards and more wrestling and pop culture references than you can shake a stick at. It's fun and easy to pick up. Earn cash to earn better cards. Play a little, play a lot, those little guys don't mind. WWE doesn't listen to you, but 80s Mania Wrestling Returns does. They're constantly updating the game with the power of user feedback. Download 80s Mania Wrestling Returns for free today. Available on Google Play and the App Store. And now, enjoy this review. Hey everyone, Brian Zane here with another classic pay-per-view review as nominated by my Patreon backers. Well, you know what? The month of August has just begun. The build and the hype for SummerSlam is approaching. It's getting really palpable nowadays. So I figure it's only appropriate we look at the very first SummerSlam from August 29th, 1988 in Madison Square Garden in New York City. This show is nominated by Ewan Downey. Ewan, thank you so much for nominating this show on Patreon. Being a distraction. Ruckus on the top rope suddenly pantses himself on the top rope to reveal another pair of tights underneath. And whose face is on that but Jake the Snake Roberts' wife, Cheryl Roberts. Her face is all over those tights. I thought it was funny that Rude had to pants himself before falling. I almost forgot to do it. And when he does it, he comes down. It looks like he's kind of awkward because his pants are around his ankles. His mobility is limited. Anyway, Jake Roberts runs out immediately and jumps through in the ring. The match ends in disqualification. I'm going to give it 1 star out of 4. It's a good match. The DQ finish kind of sucks, but it did play into a greater angle between Rude and Roberts, so I can live with it. Now, the story here is that, weeks earlier, Rude, that was kind of Rude's stick for a while, was going into the crowd, pulling a lady out of the crowd and making out with her in the ring. This one woman he approached, wanted no part of it. Turns out she was a married woman. Married to whom? Jake Roberts. And so the story with that, why Cheryl Roberts was there at all, was because she was kind of brought into the company to kind of go on the road with Jake to keep tabs on him. Wanting Hoss kind of wrestler, the 80s big man style. I went into it with very low expectations, and it really surprised me in terms of the athleticism both guys had. The finish did have me scratching my head, though, because, it was the instant of contact. Maybe the do-over was enough for Bravo to gain his bearings in time to reverse the second attempt. But yeah, I think it was overall a pretty good match. After a backstage interview with the special guest referee for tonight's main event, Jesse Ventura, in which he says he took DiBiase's money last week because he's no fool, we get a tag team championship match as Demolition with Mr. Fuji and Jimmy Hart take on the Hart Foundation of Brett and Jimmy Jam. Demolition won
so tired.
Force back in March of this year, and they are well into their record-setting 478-day title reign, which would remain unchallenged, completely intact until the New Day broke the record in 2015. The Hart Foundation recently turned face after rejecting Jimmy Hart as their manager. Hart, according to kayfabe, still owns their contract for the time, which explains why Jimmy is here. This was what Jimmy's thing. As time goes on, all the guys just slowly leave the shot. You get a tight shot on Warrior, and by the time it zooms out, they're all gone. Where'd they go? They're like, here I'm talking about, fuck this guy, he's weird. Spaceships, what? Up next, the Big Boss Man, who just debuted for the company 2 months prior, and he's accompanied by the manager Slick, takes on Koko B. Ware. Koko's coming out to the dulcet tones of Pile Driver, the title track, the critically acclaimed album that came out that same year. The size difference between the two is ridiculous. The Boss Man easily has about a foot or so on Koko. The height difference is just jarring. Boss Man easily has Koko beat on a couple of occasions, but does not want the match to end just yet. He gets up from an easy pinfall. He goes to the top rope of all things. He goes for a diving attack. Koko tries to get out of the way, but he gets hit anyway, like in the back end of it. Bossman crotches himself in the corner and Coco mounts his comeback. A huge missile dropkick off the top rope. Goes for a cover, but Bossman launches him off. Bossman slam and Big Bubba wins. Bossman clocks Coco, winning the line even after a back suplex. I love when that kind of spot happens. Hercules gets his heat, some big power moves by the big man. Billy keeps calling Jake the Snake Man, and I really wish that was his official name from here on out. Roberts goes outside on the apron, he pulls Hercules out of the ring, but Herc responds in kind by pulling Jake's neck over the top rope. Jake has a comeback, gets a short arm clothesline, goes for the DDT, but gets backdropped immediately. He does manage to bust it out from out of nowhere about a minute or two later and pins Hercules after a very valiant effort. I give this one 2.5 stars. This is like I was saying, the previous match with Coco and Bossman was good for what it was, a kind of short, sweet match with a good story. This one was a bit longer. I think it told a great story as well. I'm going to give it 2.5 stars out of 4. My favorite singles match tonight. We get a hype video for the main event, and all I can think of when watching this is why do they blur out the words of wrestling when talking about superstars? It's not like, every use of the word wrestling is censored on the network these days. This seems kind of out of left field. Like, I would expect them to blur the old block. And so there's a lot of dedication to the men and women of the armed forces, a lot of references made to those troops who are watching the show live. And there's also a promo or two that go into the troops in particular, and I'll get to that as we get there. But yeah, there's no fewer than 3 references to both President Bush and President Saddam Hussein. Interesting note, the dark match of this show was Shane Douglas versus Buddy Rose, with Douglas going over. And I knew around this time Buddy was working for the company as a job guy. And of course, he had done the blowaway diet skit, which actually Piper references at one point in the commentary here. But I didn't know about Shane Douglas working in any capacity this time for the company. I knew later he would become Dean Douglas, and he would be the Intercontinental Champion for all of like half an hour before losing it to Razor Ramon. But beyond that, I didn't know that Shane was working that early in WWF in any kind of capacity. LOD was booked, just killing normal wrestlers. It quickly comes down to Mr. Perfect on his own against Tornado and Warrior here. He is able to eliminate Kerry Von Erich with a Perfect Plex. He hits the same move on the Warrior, who kicks out. The match ends when Warrior eliminates Perfect, and he's the sole survivor. I'm going to give this match 2 stars out of 4. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be difficult for me to, I think, grade these matches, because I think a lot of them are very similar. They're very similar in terms of, overall action and ebb and flow of things. And I think, when I'm watching this show, I'm thinking, man, I can kind of understand why they eventually phased out this format of pay-per-view, where the Survivor Series is not every match is a Survivor Series matchup. Every once in a while, they'll give you at least one a year now. For a time, there were no Survivor Series matches, but now they're kind of slowly bringing them back. I think it's not good to have every match be a Survivor Series match, because as I see when I watch this show, is it gets
I'm done. Bye.